Welcome. Take it up with Jessica Lee. I'm here with Burley Kawasaki, who is the Chief Product Officer at K2. Welcome to the show, Burley.
Thanks, Jessica.
I'm so glad you're on the show because I think that, congratulations on phase 1 of 3. I know you just launched the K2 Nexus and wanted to have you talk to us about this innovation you're bringing, how you're helping companies to do digital transformation.
Yeah, no, it's been a very exciting last month as we've been getting ready for our launch at K2 Nexus. And so I'm super, super excited now to be able to talk to the world and to our customers about what this can mean for them. So love to go into more detail.
Yeah, give us an understanding of what is the value here? What's innovative about your platform?
Well, we adopted the name K2 Nexus actually because of the meaning of nexus. So a nexus is a connection of series of points, the central place that sort of connects things. That's the heart of it. And so K2 Nexus is all about connecting your people, your systems, your data together to digitize your end-to-end business process. And so it's all about digital transformation, and not a one-time, like I have to do these 3 things and I'm done, but really embracing this notion of transformative automation that is ongoing, because our world around us, our markets, our customers are constantly changing, and so we need to transform on a daily basis.
Yeah, and one of the ways that you can accelerate is actually enabling people to create apps and workflows without coding necessarily, right? So now not only the geeks can do this, but more like business people can do this.
We're seeing this, be more important than ever. I mean, people have known that they had a huge backlog of apps that they needed to build or process they need to automate, and IT wasn't able to keep up with that. But now, especially with, I think, the change that's occurring around us, people are having to work from home, or they're having to change fundamentally the way that they operate their business. It's requiring collectively all of us to figure out how do we do this, but at a much faster pace, and we don't have the time frame to wait, months or years to write applications or processes in sort of the traditional way.
So what are the trends that you're seeing from your customer base? Who are the people really adopting the platform and taking advantage of what you offer?
Well, I would say it's been an increasing trend over the last few years that, our customers are moving very quickly into the cloud, right? And so, K2 is celebrating our 20th anniversary this year. So we've been delivering automation solutions for some time. And of course, like a lot of companies, all of our customers were on premise when we started. But over the last 3 years, we've seen more and more interest in the cloud because it does help companies move faster. They can focus on the innovation or what they want to accomplish from a business standpoint and not have to worry about any of the infrastructure that they manage or they run. So that had already been increasing, but we're seeing certainly the current, global pandemic and other things around us, in people's interest in not having to maintain servers and data centers. They just want to go to the cloud. And then I would say close behind that, or part of that movement, is also the shift from physical to digital. And so people have a ton of forms of paperwork, manual processes, and they're seeing more and more that they need to replace those with either fully automated end-to-end processes, or at least moving to digital forms and using things that can scale wherever the people are. They don't all have to be in the same office. Basically, I was talking about the transition from physical to digital, and I think, except for some, that means completely automating a process, or if it can't be fully automated, at least going to digital forms so that your people don't have to, pull paper out of filing cabinets or have to be physically located in the same location, but can collaborate really wherever they are.
Yeah, and I guess when you say wherever they are, I think it's still a challenge for people now who are moving out of the city during this COVID-19 shelter in place, wanting to be in more remote locations. Here in the Bay Area, I would say a lot of people are leaving San Francisco and going to places like the mountains in the Santa Cruz Mountains or like Tahoe area. It'd be great if we can have not only the technology to access from the cloud, but actually have the ability to connect to the cloud in the first place, to actually access the apps. Having the video conference calls on that, working remotely in any location would be wonderful.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think it's an incredible opportunity for people to live where they want, more affordable options, as well as then finding talent, really globally, not just the talent within a certain radius of where your office is located, but tapping into really the global talent, which is a tremendous opportunity, especially in technology. But to your point, I think it highlights that our infrastructure is not quite there in all places. And, so I think it's both getting the speed of the connection to a point where it's reliable for high quality, but also really thinking about how processes need to change, right? What happens when the Zoom call ends, right? You still, people are emailing back and forth, or they're mailing paper forms around, right? And I think this is really sort of why moving to digital and digitizing your process is so important.
Give us an exact use case that you're doing now that seems to be an example of how digital transformation can make a big impact for a business.
Well, I'll use one that, I'll use a customer, and then maybe I'll use one of our own that we've seen internally. But one of our customers is in the UK. It's the health system there, and they like everyone, had to react very quickly to shift their frontline workers, doctors, technicians, nurses, to where the need was greatest. And so what was interesting is, most of their process, most of their people were very much around, I'm in this office or this practice, which had to be completely rethought because the need was different. They might need more of a certain skill in a different location that they weren't normally assigned to, or maybe people had the training, the skills, but it wasn't their primary job, but they needed to be, sort of redeployed because they need assistance. And so literally in under a week, they worked with us to build an entirely new process for searching for and finding their key medical and health professionals and redeploying them. First it was on all of Northern England, but now it's really across the UK. So it's an example of how, without coding and in a very short amount of time, it helped them be more agile and to work outside of sort of their normal paper-based or constrained systems. We've had our own sort of changes that we've had to make rapidly as a result of working from home. And we had the advantage, like a lot of tech companies, that we had already had some practice of a couple days a week people could work remotely. But we have seen, though, that when you're in a full-time remote world, that you do have to be really sort of thoughtful about how you stay agile. Agile, is a sort of the common practice for software development, but it always assumes that you're together in sort of smaller rooms where you can whiteboard or you can do practices and rituals. And so we've had to rethink and reimagine how we can go online and some of the tools that we use to really keep an agile culture and an agile pace of delivery, but do it in a world where we're all in different locations.
When you talk about tapping talent worldwide, be able to do that is an advantage. Your company was founded by two men from South Africa, is that right?
That's correct, yeah. Yeah, when you look at K2, we're much more global than you would think for a company our size. And so we're, about 450 employees. We have about 85 locations around the globe, which is a lot. And, you'd be puzzled about that, except again, we started globally. We didn't start in the US. We started in South Africa. And after the company had grown, the first location then that they expanded to was actually into another location in Asia, into Singapore. And so it really did mean that we started first with a different global mindset before we came to the US. Eventually we relocated the headquarters to the US, but we had already built a more global sort of company. And it really does, I have my own team that's based across different locations in Europe and Asia, South Africa, the US. And so we think about just where do we find the right talent with the right skills, and how can they work together effectively.
Yes, and I think it's a rare story to hear that a company started out in South Africa, and there's a pool of technical folks in South Africa that you are leveraging. So often you hear about tapping in places like in Poland or in India, but to hear a company that starts out Africa and having the engineering resources, that's a wonderful story to hear.
And the culture there is just amazing. I mean, I think when people, have an image of someplace and the first time you visit it, it really opens your eyes just to how energetic and the passion that they bring. And it's, there's different cultures in each sort of geography that, does sort of tech, but I would say in particular the passion, the spirit. South Africans are very proud. It's a culture where they really, I think, want challenging problems to solve, and they work super hard. There's a really strong work ethic and culture. So I love the talent and the opportunities we've had to really get those teams, into our sort of global mix. I mean, they are the core, the foundation of our organization.
Now, as Chief Product Officer, and you did work remotely 2 days a week already, but now everybody's working remotely. Has that affected anything or actually demonstrated that there's actually a better way to work when everybody is remote?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, again, it opens up new talent that can be brought into the team. So I think it makes us more competitive in sort of attracting talent in. So that's one important aspect. The other thing is I used to think about from an agile perspective, how do we co-locate teams into the same physical location? And now it's actually more important to think about co-locating them into the same time zone. You still want them being able to spend essentially the full day working together in a collaborative fashion. You don't want people up late or night. But as an example, South Africa and London are only 1 hour apart, right? And so I have a team that was working together, and they have people, literally, spread across the globe, but effectively they're in the same time zone, so they can still spend the same working day together.
That's a good point. I didn't think about that. But yeah, before we would think of physical location, but now we have to think of time zone as the primary common denominator here.
It is, yeah.
Okay.
Like in the US, for example, people would, like I live in Seattle, you're in the Bay Area, we would think about like only the talent that you could find within maybe an hour or two radius. But now it opens up, people, that might be living South America, up in Canada. I mean, there's a ton of talent that is in that same time zone that, could contribute now effectively to the same full day.
Right. It's like follow the sun model.
It is. Yeah.
Okay. Burley, what's exciting ahead for you?
Well, we have a ton of exciting things linked to our roadmap, including, of course, the release we just did, which is really the first wave of 3 waves that we've planned with K2 Nexus. And so this first wave was really about thinking about automation of sort of end-to-end structured processes. And so we've delivered some really powerful new capabilities for integrating and connecting systems and data in a much simpler way, in a much faster way than you can with previous methods. And so connecting and orchestrating structured processes is part of the core Wave 1 vision. And it builds on a lot of the existing low code and process technologies that we already had. That's Wave 1 that's available today. Wave 2, which is coming in the fall, which is really exciting, is really where we start to link together a lot of the unstructured work that people do, right? After you look at, where do people spend their time? I mean, still 70 or 80% of it is email. It's sending documents around. It's reverting to things that may not be completely known, and you may not ever have a full process that defines it, but you're relying on your subject matter experts, your information workers. I mean, think about like a lawyer, a doctor, or any sort of technician. They have a lot of that expertise. And so the goal is not to replace them or automate them with bots, but it's to actually free up their time so that they can be more productive, make better decisions, and deliver better outcomes. And so the goal in the fall with Wave 2 of Nexus is all about really bringing sort of the unstructured work into a common way to operate manage access documents, to access information. It's all virtual, so you just go to your browser and you've got an online desktop that links in all of the contact points that you and I might have, whether I'm sending emails, whether I'm updating documents, whether I'm attaching things to a case file. All of this is linked to sort of a digital case. If you think about sort of the equivalent of, like, instead of stuffing in things into a manila folder, right, you're stuffing it into a digital folder that you have at all times from anywhere via browser. And so that's super, we think, important, especially now more than ever with COVID-19, with people being distributed. This allows them all to collaborate on a lot of their unstructured work activities together in teamwork. And then it still links to all the structured processes with your systems, and it still links to everything in wave one. So it really brings those two worlds together.
What about phase 3? Is that next year, 2000?
Yeah, phase 3, a little further off, not a lot. It's sort of in the first half of 2021, but we're really starting to think more about solutions. So today, a lot of people still, we give you some very powerful tools and you can build things from scratch. But what you'll see in wave 3 is that we're going to deliver pre-built templates and accelerators that really that help you get from idea or concept to an outcome very rapidly, because we'll have built 80% of it that you can start from, you can configure it, and so that will really, I think, accelerate the way that people think about transforming their processes and their teams.
Great, that's exciting ahead for you. Then phase 2 in the fall, and then phase 3 in spring of 2021. Thank you so much, Burley, for being on the show to talk about digital transformation and some of the trends that you're seeing.
Great, thank you. Thank you, Jessica.
Take it up with Jessica Lee, Burley Kawasaki from Gate 2.